So there's this new Target commercial where a little girl dressed as a hot dog came on while my family watched a scary movie. I, 20 female, am home from college for the weekend and brought my boyfriend, and my mother, 57, decided it would be hilarious to mention that she'd made me a hot dog costume as a kid, except the way she told the story, it was my request. She said all the girls wanted to be Disney princesses, but I'd asked to be a hot dog, so she'd gone out of her way to make me that costume. This is not what happened, and I said as much. What happened is that I wanted to be Snow White and had told everyone, including the teachers, that I would be Snow White. I was obsessed with that movie as a kid, to the point where I would get invested in doing chores because I was cleaning up just like Snow White. My dad and I would watch that movie all the time, and I was very excited to be Snow White for Halloween, especially because my ballet studio was doing a special princess dance for Halloween. We'd all signed up for special princess slots, and I'd shown up early with my dad the week before so I could get to be Snow White. My mother decided that she wanted to be quirky and that Snow White was a bad role model after I got in trouble for trying to cook dinner for my family. I was about 8 and I tried to make hot dogs, like how she made food for the dwarves in the movie, and I made a mess. My mom surprised me on the day off with this crappy hot dog suit and told me that if I didn't wear it, she'd never let me watch Snow White again. She took a million pictures, the other girls teased me for months, and it was one of the most humiliating moments of my childhood. I told the real story and mentioned that I got through the day by pretending that she was the evil queen, making me dress in rags, but the rags happened to be a garbage meat costume. She got really quiet after that, and after we left, my brother said she was crying and looking at the pictures from that Halloween. I didn't want to make my mom cry, but it's a crappy memory for me, and it felt like she was trying to humiliate me all over again in front of my boyfriend. Am I the idiot for telling my mom it wasn't cute or funny to dress me as a hot dog instead of a princess? Edit, she hated Snow White, and Cinderella and Aurora. She was kind of okay with Belle and really pushed Mulan and Merida on me, but those weren't the ones I was interested in. She generally hated everything I liked and was really into the whole Cinderella ate my daughter thing. She wanted us to be allies against the other moms of the town we lived in, and I just wanted her to be like the other moms, honestly, because they were nicer. My dad was at work a lot when I was a kid and had to fight for Christmas and our birthdays off. Halloween was not something he'd be around for. My boyfriend told my mom that I wasn't the kind of girl who'd ever have liked something like that, and later on called me Snow White all night and promised he'd love me. I'd be beautiful no matter what ugly rags the wicked queen put me in. Edit 2. Oh my god, I forgot about the little pony hate. She said one of the ponies was a bimbo, the one who would always stammer and then say, "Oh, you know what I mean." I can't remember much because it got banned from our house when I was like 2. OP, your mom sounds like a real wiener. Not the idiot, it's pretty weird and messed up. I'd never force a costume on my child. That's such a weird thing to do. I'm so sorry. As a mom, I just don't get this. My mom made me dress like a clown and I'm scared of clowns. She also didn't explain how the costume came off and I publicly peed myself. Too many women become parents without realizing they're now mothers. They just can't grasp what it means to have a child and what their kid is owed. Basic respect for one. I'd say let it go, but that would be so hypocritical of me. So instead, make peace with your hot dog costume, but remember your mom for whitewashing the memory. My mom has a version of my childhood that did not happen. At all. In my mom's version, it was all snowflakes, hugs, puppies, and unicorns, but that is not the reality I lived in. I've since let it go. That's what she needs to remember, and that's okay. It's not reality, but it's okay that she wants to remember it that way. It doesn't change what really happened, and if she needs to remember it that way, that's fine. I don't let it impact me. That said, I do get the absolute outrage for "that's not what happened." I just shrug and let it go because I decided I don't care. My young teen daughter has been obsessed with Loungefly backpacks for the last 3 years. Everyone has bought some for her. She probably has 50 or so and is constantly showing them off. She has a large following on Instagram and TikTok where she shows off her bags. I monitor her activities and help her post. She doesn't even have access to the accounts on her own. My sister Stevie just started dating this man with a daughter, Zoe, who's a teen. Stevie has had financial issues due to her lifestyle habits. I believe her boyfriend is in the same boat, but both are recovering. However, Zoe has a birthday coming up, and Stevie wanted me to give her one of my daughter's bags that she saw on Instagram because it's Zoe's favourite character and the bag has been discontinued. She showed me the price on eBay. It's about $500 and Zoe really wants that bag. The thing is, it was one of my daughter's first bags and she loves that character. It's also my daughter's property and it's not like I can just give away her things. I told her I would split the cost of a new bag for Zoe if that's what my sister wanted since she's short of funds. But my sister insisted she should give Zoe the rare bag and put Zoe on my daughter's TikTok. I told her that TikTok is my daughter's project and I'm not putting Zoe on it. I have this conversation with my youngest children, who are pre-tween and tween, that their sister doesn't have to include them in the video if she doesn't want to. My sister thinks I'm being selfish about the bag and not including Zoe on her famous TikToks. I told my sister she was being ridiculous and we never even met Zoe and making these demands was ridiculous. My sister said my daughter and I are spoiled and bougie and that she will never ask for my help again. My mother understood and sided with my daughter and me, so my sister made a big TikTok about cutting toxic family members off. It's kind of ridiculous of her, and I'm not talking to her now, and my mom told her that she needs to apologize for this. My sister acts like I'm bullying her and Zoe, but again, I've never even met the teenager. Not the idiot. It's not your bag to give away. Your daughter doesn't know this girl and she loves the bag and that character, so it seems unlikely that she would wish to give it away, especially to someone she doesn't know. Your sister is being greedy and entitled. If her relationship flourishes and your daughter gets to know Zoe, then, of course, she may choose to include her on Instagram or TikTok, but it's bizarre to expect her to include a random person she's never met. She would never spend $500 or even $250 on a bag. She only wanted the bag if it was free. Then she could look good to the boyfriend and impress his daughter. She would never have told anyone that it was free. She wanted others to be in awe that she spent that much. OP's sister is just a big narcissist, looking for adoration and attention. I find it funny that sis wants that specific bag and knows how much it will go for on eBay. Given her previous problems, my bet is on Stevie wanting $500 for herself. As dumbfounding as I find it for a kid, or anyone, to own 50 backpacks, your sister is obviously being both entitled and ridiculous. Where the heck do you store all of these? My wife Kelly has been feeling really insecure lately because her best friend is going through a messy divorce after finding out her husband was cheating. Kelly is very close to her friend and has been supporting her emotionally. This made my wife anxious about our relationship, even though nothing has happened between us. She claims that seeing her friend's marriage falling apart makes her more insecure. We've had many conversations about this. Also, there are many conversations where she's being unfair to me about her new insecurities in our relationship. Anyway, she wanted to go to a new restaurant for her birthday. We got there, and the moment she saw our waitress, she was cold and had an attitude with the server. After she took our drinks, she accused me of flirting with the waitress. I wasn't. I told her to stop and be polite to the server. I pointed out that she was being unfair to me again, and that if she didn't act politely, then I would be leaving. Our waitress came back with our drink and asked if we wanted appetizers. My wife was giving her an attitude and glaring. She snapped and said we needed more time. At that point, I told her I would be taking a lift back home and that I wouldn't stay where she was being a jerk to the staff and unfair to me. I went home and she came back home a few hours later. We had a huge fight about me leaving on her birthday. I reminded her that I warned her that I would and that her insecurities were the reason I left. She thinks I'm a huge jerk and we're not talking. So picture how it would have gone if you'd stayed. My guess? She would have kept sniping at you throughout the meal. She may have escalated her behavior with the waitress. At the end of the night, you would still have had a fight when you got home, only instead of being about leaving her on her birthday, it would have been you flirting with the waitress the whole night. Does that sound likely to you? If it does, recognize that your wife is putting you in a no-win scenario. There is nothing you can do to stop her being angry at you. Imagine if you were incredibly rude and blanked the waitress the whole night. Do you think your wife would have been angry with you for that? I do. My advice, if you want it, is to be very clear with her that she needs to seek therapy over her insecurities because you will not bear the brunt of them any longer. Set boundaries for yourself and enforce them. You are not the idiot. Your wife is driving an unnecessary wedge in your relationship because her friend is in the middle of a bad divorce. She needs to get real, or you and she could be the next couple in divorce court. I, male 30, started seeing June, female 29, about 3 years ago. My mother has never really liked June for a couple of reasons, the main one being that June didn't let my mom push her around. She kept firm boundaries, which I really admired, and she even helped me do the same. My mom hated this, calling June controlling and wishing I hadn't broken up with my previous girlfriend Margot, whom my mom loved. I was with Margot for 5 years and it was horrible. Margot was very controlling and manipulative and always guilted me into things I wasn't comfortable with. But thanks to support from friends and my sister, I was able to leave her. It was hard, but I had help and my life has improved since. My mom was very upset with this, but relationships didn't last, so she eventually let it go until I started dating June about a year later. When June and I announced our engagement, my mom didn't freak out, which was weird considering that my mom hates June. She was very calm, but I just took it as she was finally accepting this, so I didn't think much of it. Everything was fine and smooth up until the wedding. I gave both my parents +1s to the wedding since they both remarried after I graduated college, so I'm not close to their spouses, but I gave them the option of inviting them. We had a very small ceremony, just immediate family and a few close friends. After the ceremony, June and I went to take pictures. Then we met back with everyone we invited to the reception, which was pretty big. When we got there, my sister and June's best friend, maid of honor, ran up to us in a panic. Before they even said anything, I spotted it. My mom was at the table with my dad's wife, and Margot. I wanted to freak out, but June kept me calm. I walked over, pulled them both aside, and simply told them to leave. My mom tried to explain Margot and I are soulmates and June is just in the way of true love, but I wasn't hearing it. I didn't care. Just got my best friends to escort them out, and I returned to the party where, luckily, after a few moments, I was able to relax and enjoy. I really didn't think this would all turn into something huge, but June and I just got back from our honeymoon where we didn't have our phones, and seeing mine, I saw hundreds of texts from multiple family members. They all think I was an idiot for kicking my mom out of her only son's wedding. For the record, she was there for the ceremony, but apparently was really upset she was kicked from the reception. Here's a summary of my family's thoughts. Some think I could have ignored Margot and not have to freak out. A few others, including my dad, think I should have just kicked Margot and let my mom stay, but after the stunt my mom pulled, I didn't want her there either. I'm starting to second guess myself since everyone is really mad. June and my sister on my side, but I fear my dad may be right and I should have just let my mom stay and made Margot leave. So, am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Kicking Margot out would not have been enough. Side note, who goes to their ex's wedding with his mom? Psycho. Your mother actively tried to sabotage your wedding. She brought an abusive ex and then said your new wife was in the way. That's appalling. She deserved to be kicked out, and your family should acknowledge that she clearly didn't want to be there. She wanted to hurt you and your wife. What was the game plan here even? Margot was at the reception after the ceremony, so OP was already married to June. So what's the point for him to see her after already committing his life to June, realize how much he loves her, and then file for the world's quickest annulment or divorce so he could be with her? I mean, it's just beyond dumb. And for Mommy Dearest, she just damaged her relationship with her son and future grandkids for nothing. I can't believe that there are grown adults who are so childish and petty they'll go to an ex's wedding as a mean-spirited +1 when you broke up 4 years ago. She could have gotten a whole degree in that time period, but she still wants to be the same person who got dumped. OP, block, and go live your life with your new wife. My ex and I were married from 2013 to 2022, and we have 3 beautiful children, a kindergartner, a preschooler, and a toddler. He owns his own company and makes a decent living. He always wanted me to quit my job even before we had kids, though I didn't understand why at the time. He believed he made enough money for us, so I didn't need to work. After we had children, he became more vocal about his opinion. However, I didn't want to quit because I loved my job, and I enjoyed the balance of both of us working and then coming home to each other as a family. Our marriage deteriorated after our 3rd baby, and we eventually separated and got divorced. Now, things are different. I don't have him anymore, and I'm all alone with no family. He has a lot of help from his mother and is now living with his girlfriend. When I have the children, it's just me, and honestly, I found it impossible to juggle both parenting and working full-time. So I quit my job last month because I was starting to feel burned out. I have the majority of custody until the kids are older, and it was too hard to maintain my job. I miss working, but I feel much better now. My ex-husband didn't say anything at first, but yesterday when he came to pick up the kids, He exploded, accusing me of waiting until after the divorce to do what he'd begged me to do while we were married. I started crying and told him the truth. When we were married, I had his support, but now I'm on my own, so I had to quit. It wasn't to spite him, but because I couldn't handle both alone. His girlfriend was very shocked and tried to get the children out to the car while I was sobbing. I regret having the argument in front of the children and his girlfriend. We've never fought in front of the kids or spoken badly about each other before, but now he thinks I'm the villain, saying I broke up our family in his heart and then left. I feel like crap. Edit, I own half the company and live on returns, if that's what it's called. What the heck? Not the idiot. You are not the idiot here. The way I understand it, you never planned to leave the job you loved, and he didn't plan on leaving his job either. Why does he have any right to ask you to quit your job in the first place? And raising 3 kids often just isn't compatible with working full-time. I have no idea how anyone would do it. If the roles were reversed, no one would have asked you to leave your job. This is misogynistic BS. If the new girlfriend has any brains, this should shake her faith in their relationship. Hopefully she realizes he still loves what he's lost. OP, he broke up the family of his own volition because he couldn't live with your independent choice and shared responsibility for parenting. You're adjusting to a new load of responsibilities to the best of your ability. That is hard. Give yourself grace, even if idiots around you won't.